for a better way, but I gotta let go. Let God deal with it. At the same time, try to let you know that I'm still here for you, even when my knees get weak and I can't hold up my end, baby. Know that I'm working on relationship goals.
Hey everyone.
Hi guys.
Welcome to Hollywood and K, for better or worse. This is our first official episode. We did a couple test episodes before with a couple that we love, Heat Boy and Slim.
Yes.
But yes, what she's doing. But this is our first official because Hollywood and K, we're gonna just
dive deep.
Yeah, dive deep.
We're gonna dive real deep today.
Well, we're going to dive deep, period.
Every time,
yeah,
but
we're going to talk about the origins of Hollywood and K. We've been together almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years in like a couple months or whatever, a few months or whatever. But, yeah, we've had a lot of ups and downs.
A
and
lot.
When we say this is not your traditional storybook romance. But
some parts I didn't want to share. I did want to leave out, but that would rob y'all of like our true genuineness and like realness. And we talk about being real and raw.
So if we're gonna be real and raw, we gotta be
put it all out there.
Yeah, we gotta be truthful. We gotta be vulnerable and let y'all know.
I am nervous though.
I mean, everybody's love story is different, you know. So
Ours
definitely is not. It's not one to brag about, but it's our love story.
It's our love story.
So
it is not very orthodox, I guess you can say, how we met. Ended up together. But y'all are in for a treat because we're going to get right down to that on this episode. So pretty much we're going to talk about how we met and ended up together. And throughout this series on this podcast, there might be tears. There'll definitely be laughter. Some things we talk about, we might even actively still be healing on that. So it could be like, you'll really see our raw emotions when it comes out with things, because it hasn't been easy. So if you see me cry a little bit because I am an emotional woman, then you know it's just true emotion.
I tend to joke about a lot of things because it's like my defense mechanism. So you might hear some inappropriate things. And I apologize in advance. But I mean, if you know me, you know, that's me. Like, I say what's on my mind, and I'm very unfiltered.
Yes.
But fun. So.
Yeah. So, you want to get down to it?
No, we can. All right. So, everybody has an origin story. Here's the Hollywood and K origin story. No, we met. I was a manager at a pizza place. This pizza place, it was at a movie theater, and the movie theater had, the movie theater, then it had a bar and grill, and then it had the pizza place. So it was a very unique, and it's still around right now. It's a very unique place, and I ended up being the manager there. But right before I became manager, I was assistant manager. And I walk into the store one day, and my area manager, who hired me, great guy named George, and he before I could even start working, he takes me to the back. He's like, "Hey, I gotta talk to you. I'm like, "Oh, what the hell is going on?" So he lets me know. He was like, "Hey, the previous manager he's no longer working here. I was gonna say no longer with us, but he's live. So I said, pick my words with that. But he's no longer working here, and I was just like, oh. And he was like, I can't get into the specifics of what happened, but we don't have a manager. And he was like, when I hired you, I hired you with the expectations of running a store because they were in the process of, getting another store up and running probably about 10, 15 minutes from where our location was. So that was his plan, get me trained and take over that new store or whatever when it was going to be open. But he was like, I need you to run this store. I need you to become manager. I need you to step up and be manager and run this store. And I was like, okay. Like, I already knew pretty much everything that I needed to do because I was already doing it along with the other manager. So, it wasn't a problem. It was just a shock that, I'm just coming to work and, I'm instantly promoted. So I was like, okay. So, I was like, all right. So I think the next day that I had worked, I came in, it was a closing shift, so I came in and I see this young tenderoni. she was working, and I had never seen her before. And the crazy thing about it was, with the other manager, I did the second interview. So when he interviewed people, I normally did the second interview, but for some reason he never let me know about her. So one of the other managers that we had did her second interview. So I ain't know she exists. So I walk in there and I'm just like, immediately I'm like, who is this person? Like, I've never seen her before. Why does she have one of our shirts on and she's behind our counter making pizzas? Or you won't even make a pizza.
I was at the register.
Yeah, you were just on the lollygag and talking. I was just like,
no, I was folding boxes.
You was folding boxes, yeah, very productive. Folding boxes. So, me, I'm straightforward to the, point or whatever. So, I introduced myself. I was like, hey, I'm Terrence, I'm the manager or whatever. How you doing? What's your name? She's like, my name's Kayla or whatever. I was like, oh, Kayla. And, I'm observing there's nobody in the store at this point. She's folding boxes. The other person's doing nothing too. So I'm just like, okay. I was like, what time do you get off? And it was 4:00. So she's like, I get off at 4:30. I was like, oh. Well, you can go ahead now. We're good. She was like, what? I'm here till 4:30. I was like, yeah, but we're good. I got it. I
was so mad at him.
I was like, I got it.
Cut into my pockets at that point.
It's 30 minutes. Like, if 30 minutes gonna make or break you, then you already broke. That's all I'm saying.
He playing with my money.
Yeah, 30 minutes. Like, so, so she was like, okay. So I was just like, all right, whatever, bye. So I was like,
I've always had an attitude problem.
So look, I'm thinking you won't do nothing but folding boxes anyway, and I know I fold them faster than you anyway. So but saying that is kind of funny because we ended up. Like me, I'm a very competitive person. So we ended up having a race to see who could fold boxes faster. And of course, I won.
No.
I won.
No, he didn't.
I won.
No, he didn't.
I did win.
Not all the time.
You were very good. You pushed me to my limit. But yeah, so I'm thinking I fold boxes faster than her anyway. So, I'm good, So she gets the attitude, all right, bye, whatever. So I was like, okay. So I'm like, I'm thinking, like, where did she come from? Like, who hired her? Like, it's like, I've never seen her before. Like, I work every day. I've never seen her before. So, she was like, well, fine. I'll just go watch Magic Mike. Because we worked at a movie theater. The whole place is the movie theater, but it had its separate parts. So she was just, and then being that we were employees, we were considered employees of the movie theater. So we got to see
free
movies as well. So, she was like, I'm going to see Magic Mike. I was just like, all right, well, go look at whatever you want to look at with Magic Mike. So, we continue working, and then...
Mind you, this is 2015.
Yeah, it's 2015. So, like, 2 hours later, this chick showed... And then this pizza place, like, we sold beer, too. So, because we were right beside the bar, and grill, they sold alcohol, and then we sold alcohol as well, you know, with our pizzas and stuff, you know, because people would take stuff and go into the movie theaters. So she comes back. Clearly, she was inebriated.
Already.
loud as hell. Loud as hell. There should have been a warning flag right there. Like, warning sign, whatever. She crazy. She come back loud as hell, coming through the back of the store, and I'm just like,
who is she?
You off the clock. Why is you back here? Going somewhere. Like, go home. She was like, I'm looking for Rodney. Rodney. And I was like, Rod? And, you know, I knew who Rodney was, but I'm just like.
He worked in the bar and grill.
Yeah, and I'm just like, she looking for Rodney.
But it won't like that. I needed to smoke.
She needed to smoke.
And needed to smoke.
And Rodney clearly was the guy who had the smokes. She was like, Rodney. And I was like, hey, what you doing? Where are you going? I'm looking for Rodney. Like, she didn't even hear me. I'm like, I know she heard. She heard me when I told her to leave. She could leave. So now you can't hear me? Now you can't hear?
Work
now your ears
and
don't
off
work?
the clock me are two different people.
Now your ears don't work. So I'm like, all right. So at this moment, I'm getting intrigued because I'm like, I'm not normally ignored by anybody. So, and this was before I had all this too. So trust me, you know, Hollywood's player. So, so I'm like, she's piquing my interest. You know what I'm saying? You know, by ignoring me, and I'm just like, okay. She was like, I'm going to the strip club after this. I just see Mike. I'm going to the strip club, and I was like, I get off at 11, and she just still just like a bat, out of hell, just Rodney, and I'm just like,
I finally did find my smoke though.
She did, and I was just like, this is gonna be very interesting.
Didn't you come out back?
No, I don't.
You did. I think you came out back and was talking to me about what I was doing after. And then after that, I walked through and then I left because I had to go to the garage.
But she was pretty much ignoring me because I was just like, man, I get off at 11, man. Like, you know. But with that being said, you know, I was joking around. My personality, if you know me, you know my personality. I like to joke a lot and I say whatever's on my mind. So sometimes it might come off as flirting or whatever, but it's really. I really don't try to flirt because I just say what's on my mind, and I'm saying it in a joking way because that's just my personality.
And he didn't end up coming out with me that night.
No, because you know I like to joke, so that's just me. You know what I'm saying? If you've been around me, you know, like you're gonna have a great time.
He ain't even have my phone number.
Yeah, no. So I didn't even know your last name. You work for me. I ain't know nothing.
I was about to say it's.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know when you worked again. Like, so you know, so it was kind of crazy. And you know, full disclosure, I was married at the time. So, so like I said, it was all jokes, whatever. It's all jokes until it ain't jokes no more. Mm-hmm. So I just thought it was very interesting. So I think the next time I worked or whatever, it was like a morning shift. I think it was the very next morning, wasn't it? Or it might have been a couple days later. I just know the next time that I worked with her, it was a morning shift. And I came in, and again, I didn't know she was working. So I came in and, you know, I got there early because I was manager or whatever, so I got to get there early. So then she showed up right when the normal time for the second employee comes in. I was like, oh, you're working. So I was like, this should be interesting today. So
he was already plotting, man.
I said this should be interesting. And
he wasn't even on my radar yet, really.
So another guy named Ram was working with us, and he was the guy that
he was cool as shit.
Yeah, Ram was cool. He would be in the back. He would be the one making the dough and prepping everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
and he would make the pizzas, and I would cash out.
Yeah. So Ram was intrigued as well, you know, and I was just like, okay.
Yet another married man.
Yeah, Ram was terrible though. Ram was terrible. Ram would have literally rammed anything. But
if you hear this, Ram.
If you hear
sorry,
it,
bro.
No, ain't no sorry. You know I ain't lying. But So we literally like had one of the best shifts like ever. Like
we were laughing, joking, singing, because we had the music going.
I was like, I had never seen the Boondocks at the time, but I had watched the one clip with the Booty Warrior. So the whole shift, I was like, I like you, and I won't see you.
whole time.
We could do this the easy way or the hard way.
And I was just cracking up.
And she was choosing the hard way.
I did give a lot of pushback though. Like I would flirt back.
Yeah.
But like I wouldn't go there.
Yeah.
But also I didn't know he was married either. Even though I could have looked at his hand and figured that out because he had a ring. But I was very oblivious. Also, I was young.
Yeah. So
I was just out to have fun.
Yeah, and me too. Like I said, it was just fun and games. You know, like I always create an atmosphere at work, no matter and.
That's goofy.
Yeah.
But comfortable and like you want to go to work because you're looking for that great time.
Yeah.
Like.
And when I'm
made a difference.
Yeah, and when I'm in charge, trust. Not even like my non-manager roles, like I'm still a great person to be around at work because I keep everybody's spirits up. So yeah, we had a great shift, and come to find out, she needed a ride home.
I remember what Ram said that day.
What'd he say? I don't know what. This is news to me.
You told me.
I did.
Yes.
Oh man, this is a long time
about ago. Ram was like, you in trouble. You about to be in some trouble. Because he found out you were gonna take me home and y'all were having a man conversation.
Oh yeah. I was probably getting warned. But yeah, she needed a ride home, so I was just like, well, where do you live? You know what I'm saying? And come to find out,
this is the crazy part.
This chick literally lived across the street from me. Like my apartment complex, like I was in the townhouse, and it was like apartments and townhomes. I had a townhouse that I was staying in, and it was another apartment complex literally across the street.
And my front door, like entrance to the apartment, faced his backyard. Literally walk across the street, I'm in his backyard.
Well, you got to climb a fence, but
no, you broke that soon after.
Well, I didn't
show
break
it off.
I didn't break it. Brian broke it. Remember, because Brian he jumped through it, trying to act like his dad, because his dad was so cool and still athletic.
All right, let's go. Keep going.
But yeah. So I was just like, I looked at her. I was like, well, you live across the street from me. I was like, well. I said, well, no problem. And as you can see, that's our crazy kid in the background jumping and flipping around. So it's not no random kid we just grabbed off the street. So he's not jumping for help back there. He's ours. He's just got a lot of energy.
He didn't go outside today. Excuse him.
Yeah, but yeah. So I'm like, she lives across the street from me. This is crazy. All right. So I was like, well, if you ever need a ride and
pretty much he was offering like, hey, you need a ride, I got you.
And then I was like, well, I'm the manager, I do the schedule, so if you don't have a ride, you can work most of your shifts with me. That way you'll have a ride to work. Mm-hmm. And again, it was nothing.
It was strictly just like carpool setup.
Yeah. So and she was very good, you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, cool. So it went from a point where we were just cool, like joking around at work, and that was the whole crew though. The whole crew would have fun. We would joke around at work.
Like we were all joking with each other.
Yeah.
But I guess we started talking about like. Wait, I think I was drunk one night and called you. That's how I found out he had a wife or something.
Let me tell you, this chick here, right?
But we were friends, so we would always talk about. I would like. Confide in him a little bit about the relationship because I was in a relationship with a guy in the military who was deployed. So everything was just all fun and games.
Yeah.
And we just talked and we like built like that friendship to where like we tried to like have advice, but he didn't really like confide in me much about stuff yet until I found out about his wife. And this is how I found out.
All right, so this is how she found out. my phone was broken at the time, so like
When he got a phone call?
when I got a phone call, it had to be on speaker. So I could, like people could hear me because whatever was wrong with my speaker, like if I held my phone up right here, you couldn't hear me talk. So I literally had to press the speakerphone button and talk like that so that people could hear me and I could hear them. So
I was a party animal, okay?
Party animal. So
I was out every night and at work every morning.
yeah, so it was a night that I closed at work, and she didn't work that night, but I closed. So I got home. It was like 11 something, and I got home. I was literally home for like 10 minutes. Got sat on the bed, and the chick, who's my ex-wife now, obviously. Yeah, I'm not his ex-wife. Yeah, I was with her, and
with her.
I was on the bed. I was sitting on the bed. I literally just got home, sitting on the bed, and then she calls me, and I was just like, "This is weird. Why is she calling me at like almost? It was like 11:45 at night," and I'm just like, "Okay." So this is literally how I answered the phone. I was like, "Hey, Kayla," I was like, "You're on speakerphone because my phone is broken. How can I help you?"
You were like, "I'm laying in bed with my wife."
No, that's what I said. Yeah, I was like, I said, "Hey, Caleb, my phone is broken, so you're on speakerphone, and I'm laying in bed with my wife right now. How could I help you?" Real strange way to answer the phone.
I'm drunk, didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, real strange way to answer the phone. I was just
like, that's
so
what
she looking at me like, first of all, why is this chick calling you at this time of night? Then why are you answering the phone saying all that?
So suspicious.
And then she totally oblivious to what I said because she.
I probably won't even listen.
Again, she's inebriated.
This is a recurring thing. Just know.
Yes. Yes. For the first part of our relationship, this is a very, very usual thing.
I was 21. I just found my freedom.
Yeah. So she was like, I'm lonely. You want to come over? And I was like,
I'm in bed with
my wife right now. No, I said, no, I don't want to come over. And she was like, you sure? I'm just over here. I'm bored. Like, you want to come over?
I was calling him, in my defense, it won't like that to get with the man. I wanted him to come over and have a drink with me because my best friend was out doing whatever and we lived together. So I was bored, drunk, and alone, and I needed a friend, and I knew he was close. So nobody had to drive, nobody had to do anything, and I knew he just got off from work. So it won't like that, okay?
So I was like, well, I'll see you tomorrow or whatever. So I hang up the phone. I'm just like, oh, Lord, here we go. So she's like,
thinking the worst.
Who is that? She was like, Miss Lonely Pants over there wants you to come over. What's going on?
That was my name.
I said, I honestly don't have a clue why she called me to come over. Like, she works there. We're cool. We laugh and joke. I said, but nothing's going on. And nothing was going on.
We didn't even kiss. We didn't hold hands. I don't even think we really hugged.
Why would we hug?
We were just conversation buddies.
But that right there put her on the radar. It put her on the radar. So I was being watched like a hawk. And I ain't even done nothing. So there she go. So a little bit goes by and we continue to like get closer or whatever. We laughed and joked about what happened or whatever, but then we really
dug deep into like our current relationships of like what was wrong and like what we didn't like, and that kind of opened the door for us to really find what we was lacking in our relationships currently that we found in each other. And I think that's what opened the door. So it wasn't like I intentionally went in and destroyed everything.
This is a destroyed everything.
I just want to put that out there.
And
just things happen
And we all are, you know, well, I can't say we're all are adults because who knows who's watching or whatever, but
I'll save that for a later day.
But you know, sometimes in life things happen that we make some decisions, and you know, we're not always proud of all the decisions we make, and no, we're not condoning anyone cheating or you know, affairs.
But at this point, it wasn't that.
But you know, I feel like at the time it was just some things that I was going through mentally, and I would say mentally because I you know, that would be a different conversation, like mental health and stuff like that. But I feel I was going through some things mentally that I had not experienced before, and I did not know how to deal with.
And I think I made it easier for him to get.
Yeah, and talking with her, it kind of made me closer to her because I didn't even know how to talk to anybody about it.
We built a really strong emotional connection from the second we started opening up and talking about like real stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it was on a whole nother level, and that's kind of what sparked us into more of a physical relationship.
Yeah.
Because we were so there intellectually and emotionally.
And the truth of the matter is, like everybody knows my wife knows she got a big booty. I didn't know at the time she even had a big booty because I didn't even look at her like that. I thought she was, you know, cute and pretty and stuff like that. But again, like, there was no intentions of me doing anything. You know, like if you knew back then, like how many girls flirted and hit on me when I worked there, like all the girls that
we'll get into that.
All the girls.
We're gonna get into that.
We are, but I'm just saying all the girls that worked there, movie theater, even the bar, like at some point flirted, you know, whatever, and there was no intentions of me doing anything with anybody. So when it came to her, like it was no intentions. It was the same, you know, we laugh, joke, have fun. But I always call her my perfect storm. Like everything that happened had to happen for me to be with her. Like she was my perfect storm. Like if it was any other situation, I don't think anything would have happened because nothing happened in any other situation. But she was my perfect storm, and once I made a decision to be with her, it's not like I went around and was like still with, you know, my wife and, you know, sneaking off with her and stuff like that. It was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I separated from my then wife, and then me and her committed to a relationship. So, but that, and again, you know, me, whether I was separated or not, once we made it official, we still ran into so many issues because of the fact that we met while I was married. And you wanna?
And that was rough.
Very rough.
So I mentioned my best friend that I lived with at the time when I lived across the street from him.
And this chick had no reason to have a moral high ground with the stuff that she was doing at the time, but
she got really upset with me because she didn't agree with how me and him ended up together. But before all that, like, I was very tempting. I got to a point in the relationship where I wanted it to get physical. So I tried to entice him.
She set me up. I'm a victim here. I'm a victim.
No, he ain't.
I'm a victim. He
was a willing participant.
I was a victim before this.
But
when I saw them rainbow tights.
Since he was still living with her when we decided to get physically involved with each other, he had a lot of guilt. So he couldn't, like, follow through.
Hey now.
No, like,
right.
With a lot of the stuff. Like, he would want to, but then he would, like, back out, you know? So, like, it was starting to make me feel a type of way, and I was just like, you know what? Maybe he's not really feeling like how I was feeling, you know? Because our conversations prior to that led me to believe that that's not what he wanted. And he was done with that. So we, hung out a few times. We had these premiere nights at the theater, and we went out and we had a great time. It was like midnight.
Yeah, the premiere nights that we have were a new movie would come out and they would let the employees watch it first.
Sit in and watch it to make sure like everything was good on the.
Yeah, and it'd be like midnight when everybody was off, because we closed at 11 and the bar closed at 10 or 11. Mm-hmm. And that way it gave everybody enough time to close up and do what they need to do. And then.
But I don't think this was a premiere night. This was the night
this was a game
we were
night.
playing.
This was a game night that we had.
Video games on the big movie theater screen.
We called them game nights at the theaters for the employees. So we would they would have 2 theaters set up. And one of them, they were playing. We were playing 2K on one of them, and then the other one was
Call of Duty. No, it was something else.
It was another game. I can't remember.
But we were in the one playing 2K one.
Yeah, we were in the 2K
and we were just all having fun. Mm-hmm. And of course, I'm drunk at this point. And I decided to jump on another employee's back, and I fell, and I fucked up my ankle. So the next morning, I'm in pain. He's driving me. I asked him, can he take me to the urgent care? And I ended up being on crutches because I sprained my ankle. Well, the whole time he was there, she was watching his location, and she was like, what are you doing out there? And da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And, like, going in. Like, mind you, she was watching him like a hawk.
Like a hawk. Thanks to Miss Lonely Pants.
So, I mean, that happened. Then once I healed up from all that, which didn't take too long, did it?
No.
But I think, was I still coming to work?
You still came to work and sat down at the register with a chair.
Yeah. So I was kind of crippled for a little while with my ankle. Even to this day, it's still bad. But, meh.
But you was talking about.
But yeah, so my best friend, because now at this time, me and him are like really in it. His ex-wife's out of the picture, gone.
Well, she ain't gone, but
she left.
She hadn't left completely yet. But
no, she was.
No, because remember, she pulled the,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a wild story.
Okay, so we were at work one day. I'm going to just backtrack. Because we got to make sure we fill in all these middle parts before we get to that. So, at this point, even before we weren't physical. No, she was fighting for him back. Yeah. He made up his mind he didn't want to be in it. She was fighting for him back, but she was going about it in a way where
she was trying to
embarrass him and all of that. She would show up at work where we work and make a scene. This chick took a butter knife and slashed his tires.
I don't think you can say slashed, but not with a butter knife.
With a butter knife. Do you know how much strength it takes to puncture a tire with a butter knife?
You would know since you did it to our car.
I didn't use a butter knife. I used a real knife.
Well,
and
that's another story.
That is another story. But yeah, crazy, right? So,
and she ain't nothing but 100 pounds, and she's
little.
She out there sawing a tire with a butter knife, like
sawing.
Like that's dedication.
Put her back into it, man.
And she had a bad back too.
She was so mad. It was so bad. I had to stay in the back.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I was confrontational at all. Like I won't even because he told me that he was done with that and he was leaving. And so I let him handle that. It's not like I was in her face and oh, he's mine now and da-da-da. No, it won't none of that. I was actually, I think it was fucked up. We actually all went out one night.
Well, no.
It wasn't even our idea. No, no. This is what opened the door. Okay. It was her.
Yeah.
In this event. You say it because you're the one who lived it.
Okay, because once you called me and put yourself on the radar. Now she's watching
intrigued.
everything. She's watching everything, Now, me and my ex, we had a very complicated relationship as well.
It was very open.
Well, I ain't gonna say it was open, but
no, she allowed him to do things.
No, she didn't allow. Listen, let me tell it, because I lived it.
Oh my god.
So when we first got together, she had cheated, and because she was sleeping with this married guy or whatever, and she was married. But her and her husband weren't together. But she was sleeping with this married guy or whatever. So, and I found out about it. And the thing about it was, I wasn't so upset about the fact that she was sleeping with him, because she had knew him before me and was into it with him. But my thing was, I didn't want a relationship with her when I first met her. So she is the one who kind of like pushed to have a relationship. So I'm like, you pushed to have this relationship knowing that you were still sleeping with somebody. So I was like, I thought that was kind of messed up, because we could have kept it casual, where you could have kept doing your thing, and I could have been doing my thing. But instead, you wanted to pursue a relationship and push a relationship with me, knowing that you were still doing stuff with somebody else. So once I found out about it, and I confronted her, she blew up at me and got mad at me because I found out, and then wanted to try to make me feel bad and talk a whole bunch of crap to me. And I was just like, wow, like you cheated on me, you hurt me, and now you coming at me all crazy. So I was like, you know what?
And this was a lot of stuff we talked about.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? You ain't.
And also what he's done.
Yeah.
Because
you ain't want to see that side of me. So that kind of like unlocked the side of me where I was just like, you know what? Since you wanted to cheat on me, every chick that I know that wants to sleep with me, they gonna get it. And they did. And
this is before me, guys.
Yeah, this is before her. So, but we worked through things and everything. Everything was cool, and we ended up being together for like 8 years. But yeah, she kind of let me have like an adventure on my birthday, the last birthday I had before I met her. She let me have this adventure in Puerto Rico where we went to this strip club.
You're gonna go in detail?
Yeah, well, we went to the strip club, and she literally like did all the research and went to the strip club, and just gonna leave it like that. So she kind of like opened the door, for a situation like this later on. But when she found out that she was probably interested in me, then again she was watching me like a hawk and clocking my every move. But then she
and probably watching me too.
Yeah,
like my socials and everything, she was on them.
But then she was like, well, and she was, well, I will put it like this, because she told me this at a later date. She was like, I knew I couldn't compete with her because she was so young, so pretty. And she was like, I knew I couldn't compete with her, and I knew if I had to make a choice, I would probably, do something with you because you were just so freaking pretty and stunning or whatever. So she was just like, she wanted to get ahead of things. So she kind of like, well, invite her out and let's all hang out. So she was literally like planning for all us to be together one night to kind of like let me have my cake and eat it too type of thing.
Which I didn't know about till a later date.
Yeah. And I just thought it was wild because I'm just like, what are you really trying to do? And I'm just like, well, if that's what you're trying to do, then okay, then, I'm with it.
So he asked me to hang out, and I told them, well, I'm going to this bar tonight with my best friend and the guy she's talking to. We're going to his bar. So we all rode up there. Yeah,
we all got drunk and had a good time, and then she came back to our place, and she was so drunk that she was throwing up
everywhere.
She was done for. So that idea that
Because at first I was at the house. I drink
yeah.
mixed too many different liquors. Like I was drinking with her at the house, hanging out, and then we ended up going to the bar, and then I was drinking hardcore liquor over there, and then taking shots, and we were all dancing, having a good time, and then we ended up back at the house, and I was
my famous karaoke when I did the White Girls Jink. Oh, that jink was great.
With your backup dancer.
So yes, we get back to my house and she's like so jacked up, like the ex is holding her hair
while I'm puking in the toilet.
So yeah,
she did take very good care of me that night.
She did, and then so she was left out of the situation that happened afterwards.
It was just
because she was so messed up. But that kind of like,
and I slept through all of it. And mind you, their room was a loft room right above my head, and I didn't hear a thing because I was on my own little planet.
Yeah.
Dying.
But yeah.
Dry heaving.
So in our defense, she kind of like sparked the real interest of us actually doing something when she kind of like set that up. So it kind of like progressed after that. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's
because once he told me about it the next day, it was like the next day or two. You told me about what the real plan was. Mm-hmm. Because I had no idea, like not even in the slightest. I just thought we were just all hanging out to like ease her mind.
Yeah, that's what I thought too at first, and then she kind of like was like.
But she wanted a piece of me too.
Well, I don't think she wanted a piece of you
to make him happy.
Yeah, I think she just wanted me to satisfy my appetite, so I wouldn't go off.
Do it on your own.
Yeah,
I guess she wanted to keep a watchful eye.
Yeah, so.
That happened. And then we ended up doing our own thing.
Yeah, we ended up, after that, that's when we ended up really exploring things. Mm-hmm. And then, again, my guilt, I wasn't able to kind of like follow through on everything a couple times. And, but you was talking about.
Oh, yeah, my friend. Mm-hmm. So I was living with her. She did not agree with me hanging out or trying to start something with a man who's married, even though he's made it clear that he's separating. But it was kind of conflicting to her, being the fact that night he slept with her. So my friend was like, that doesn't sound like a married man who's leaving. And I mean, it kind of made me feel a type of way, because I was like, is he telling me one thing and telling her another? So she kind of got in my head a little bit, but I'm if I like somebody, I do pursue them and at least try to see like their true intentions. So I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt and wanted to see what was really going on, like what he really wanted, because like his actions and his words weren't matching. So she didn't agree. After a while, I think I ended up moving out because we ended up living together like immediately. And at this point, we got caught at work about our relationship.
Well, that took a while.
Yeah. But we were living, that did take a while. So we were living in like hotels for the night or whatever, trying to like save up money to
rooms for rent.
Find our own way, you know.
A whole apartment, townhouse that we could have been living in. Yeah, we did.
But we didn't, and that's one of our regrets. That if we knew, but we didn't know what we were like really doing.
Yeah, because she ended up leaving and taking the kids and moving to Florida.
Yeah.
So.
But my best friend, when I moved out, we actually kind of fell off for a while. Yeah. There, because for like a couple years, because she was just like, I don't agree with what you did, and he had a family, and even my best friend kind of turned her back on me after the incident because she felt so uncomfortable with like the idea of all of it. And at this point, it was more of a reality than an idea, and it kind of like rubbed her the wrong way. And I lost out on 2 years with my best friend. I mean, I was still around, but our relationship wasn't like the same because, 5 months after meeting him, I ended up pregnant with our son back there. And then a couple months after that, she ended up pregnant with her daughter. So we ended up being pregnant together, but we didn't really get to experience those, best friends being pregnant and being happy together. because like she didn't come to my baby shower because we weren't really talking, but I did show up to hers. I went to her daughter's first birthday. She wasn't at Jace's first birthday. Like, we had like a really on and off relationship that just wasn't good for a while. But then one day we really sat down and I talked to her about like all of it and kind of heard her out on how she felt and like explained the circumstances because she didn't know everything. And now we're like best friends. They're like brother sister, you know, like she's like, that's my brother, that's weird, you know. So, you know, like she loves it. But like, and he was very sour with her in the beginning. He's like, that's not your friend, and da-da-da. And like,
yeah, I mean,
who is she to judge? Because you know she's had a rocky past too.
Yeah,
but we're not gonna go into detail.
No, I'm not gonna go into detail. My thing is, like, people are always so quick to judge other people, but they want to give themselves a pass. And it's like, you can't say you don't agree with this, but then you're doing either the same thing or something close to that, and you give yourself a pass. So I was like, she's not your friend for real, if she just gonna cut you off like that because she don't like something that you're doing. She don't have to agree with what you're doing, but to not, and to talk about you the way she was talking about you, and we've actually heard it, you know what I'm saying, when she didn't know we could hear her, you know. And I was just like, regardless if you agree with what somebody's doing or not, you don't talk about somebody like that, and that's supposed to be your friend.
And that like hurt me bad.
Yeah. So that was my thing, because my friends, none of my friends, they didn't agree with what I was doing either, except for one friend. Rest in peace, Scott. He was just like, hey, I just want you to be happy, and if you weren't happy in the situation that you were in, then I just want you to be happy, and that's it. If she makes you happy, then that's my little sis right there. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he was my only friend, because I've had Scott. I had known Scott died, 6 years ago?
About that long.
Yeah, 6 years ago. So, but I had known Scott 6 years ago. So I had known Scott for 25 years. No, is that right? Yeah, I known Scott for 25 years.
Longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, 20. I known him for 25 years before he died. And then, so this is not just like a best friend, you know, for a couple years or whatever. 25 years, like that's quarter of a century. And then my other best friend, Jason, you know, knowing him, I had known him 2 years longer than Scott. And him and another one of my friends that I, like childhood, that I known since I was like 5 years old, they lived next door to me. Those two, Jason and Wesley, when
Didn't Wesley passed too?
No,
that was Wiz.
Yeah, that was Wiz. But Jason and Wesley, when they found out, and the crazy thing is, Jason actually had met her, and you know, we all hung out and we was laughing and joking. Mm-hmm. We had came up with a nickname with her, Helen of Troy, the face that launched 1,000 ships. So I used to call her by Helen of Troy. But yeah, so he had met her, and he just like, I understand, but it's crazy because him and Wesley actually were staging an intervention for me because they literally thought I was out of my mind leaving my family. They was like, I know she's cute, you know, the hip is nice, but you really just gonna up and leave, you know? Like, they just literally thought I was out of my mind. They were staging an intervention for me but they didn't go through with it. Something happened and they didn't go through with it. And they told me about it later, and I just thought it was fucking hilarious that they had staged an intervention for me. But they never stopped being my friend. They never, they helped out whenever they could or whatever. So that was just my whole situation with it. It's just like your friend is gonna be there regardless. Like, they don't have to agree.
And that's why he was so sour with her.
And that's why I was. And everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has things in their life they wish they could change, but everything makes you who you are. So you just got to learn from those things and be better and make better decisions. So yeah, now we're good now. I think she's exaggerating with all that.
No, I'm not. She said it.
Oh
she
my
calls
God.
you her brother. You know what? You want to call her?
No, I
live
don't. No, I
right
don't.
now?
No, I
Call
don't.
her? Okay.
Nah, she's cool. She's a really good person.
She's helped us out many a time.
Yeah, she's helped us. So
But I mean, we have so much more to unpack, man. But
Yeah,
that's pretty much how we got together and how
and that's some of the challenges because
we have way more.
Yeah.
That'll probably be on the next episode.
'cause
The challenges as to starting our relationship
yeah,
and like the stuff we went through.
and that's just our friends. We got a whole separate account of things
Family.
when it comes to really her family,
Yeah.
not my family, because well, I can say because my family wasn't excited and they kind of like stopped
like,
talking to me for a little bit, but
Like, what are you doing?
but not my mom. Me and my mom didn't have the best relationship, but growing up, and my mom's passed now. But before she passed, we had got a better relationship when it came to me, like confiding in her about things, and she didn't judge me at all, and she would just give me like literally the best advice that I could ask for, and I miss her for that, and I wish that
They had more time.
we had more time, and I wish I'd have known a lot of the things now, that I know now. I wish I'd have known way ahead of time so that we could have had a better and closer relationship while she was still here. But
And we can talk more about that.
Yeah.
About like what we found.
Yeah.
When I was with him for like the hardest time of his life. Like losing his mom was very rough for him. And I feel like I was there supporting and holding you up
Yeah.
the best I could.
She was amazing. Me not so much, because there's never a right way to deal with grief, and there's never an exact way to deal with grief. So everybody does it differently. Everybody
And I
does it
mean,
on
this
their own
leads
time.
into a lot of other things. So, I mean, y'all are in for a ride. We'll see y'all.
And we just want to say thanks for tuning in to Hollywood and K, for better or worse, where love, life, and everything in between gets real. If you laugh, learn, or just love the vibes, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with someone who needs it.
Follow us on social media to keep up with the conversations. And remember, no matter what life throws your way, you're in it together, for better or worse. Until next time, stay real, stay connected, and stay in love. What? What?
Bye, guys.
Bye.